Poetic beats. Poetic beats.
This is First GenXers.
Poetic beats. Poetic beats.
Good evening, y'all. How you doing? My name is Dark Lord 100. As always, I am here with the one and only Dirk, Suave, and O'Malley. I gotta fix that overlay so that we're not as messed up there. There we go. There we go. See. Hello. Anyway, and we make up the crew here on the classroom, and we are here to talk a little bit of NBA and some NFL today. It's let's just say this is the slow time of the year for sports, unless you're a fan of like soccer, like I think
baseball.
The Gold Cup is baseball. Yeah, baseball's getting good, but there's not many stories coming out of it. Like Dodgers are good. Like, you know,
Duh. I mean, yeah, still, it's not that there's nothing. Also,
Yeah.
the WNBA's been pretty good recently.
Didn't Miss Clark and company win the Commissioner's Cup? Their version of the NBA Commissioner's Cup for the end season tournament for the men. Like, didn't Caitlin Clark just win that with her teammates there? Sure.
I didn't say I was watching it.
It's there. It exists. I never said nothing about
I've been paying attention more to the Valkyries than anything. That and I'll get messages. Hey, I just had this thing pop up on my tablet, but I couldn't get the thing. So I want to know what the article said. Also, what was the outfit she was wearing that they were talking about? And I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Really? Okay.
Questions. All right. So the NBA this week has been full of a bunch of trades, a bunch of signings. The landscape is going to look a little different. None of the major players really made any moves other than the Kevin Durant was finalized. The Kevin Durant trade to Houston was finalized, and it was brought out to be now a 7-team trade, I believe. Let me see if I can find that information real quick.
Yeah, most teams in history, I believe, right?
Yes, I believe 100%. Like, yeah, there, first 17 trade. Here we go. This deal, lay it all out for us. Okay, the Suns wound up with 31st overall pick, and they used the pick St. Joseph's forward Rasheed Clemming plus 41st pick, which they used to take guard Kobe Bray. Wound up being drafted. Wow. Multiple, like, they're not showing a straight out layout of it. They're just kind of tell you what all came from it. The Lakers used their pick from this trade to get Adu Therio. The Timberwolves used theirs, the 45th pick. The Warriors used theirs to get Alex Tui, which we and Steve were talking about last week. Wow, like, that's just insane to me. Atlanta Hawks, Brooklyn Nets, Warriors, Lakers, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Phoenix Suns. In the trade, Kevin Durant, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Clint Capella, David Roddy, and Daquan Plowden were all traded. It's why? Like why were all those teams necessary in order to make this trade happen? Any thoughts
Because
on
all
the
those
trade, y'all?
teams were trying to get rid of people in general. So it was like, how can we hop on this and who can we get rid of real quick?
You know, but the Warriors ended up with dang it, I can't trying to find a comprehensive layout of what was done. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I don't know. I think it's so complicated that even the teams that were involved on it aren't quite sure what was done. Freaking who robbed Peter to pay Paul, basically?
Yeah.
Jemai Mashak is another guard that they got. And Suave was telling me about him earlier. That's the guy that you were talking about that you said led the NCAA, won their Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the question like this, like I did to Suave earlier, and I'll present it to both of you right now. That's great and dandy. I'm glad. More wing defensive depth is great. What does this do for our problem of not having a big man? And especially considering Kevin Looney just signed with the Pelicans. What the fuck are we doing? There's got to be something that Mike Dunleavy and Joe Lacob know that we don't, that makes these moves make sense. Because there's not a team in the NBA this year that needed a big worse than the Warriors did other than the Lakers.
I feel like there's got to be something going on behind the scenes right now that they're going to pop out with some crazy off the wall something, because for them to have been this quiet, across the board, really, they're losing more than they've been gaining at this point. And we're past 4th of July. They like to, set off fireworks and stuff like that. But I can only think that there's something going on. They're working on something that we have no clue about. That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now, because they've been super quiet. What are we doing if the season were to start tomorrow?
Right.
What are you doing with your life right now?
I've heard about bigs that we have in that are going to be playing in the summer league. I guess this is to an extent them showing faith in Ty Jackson Davis and Quentin Post. But me and Suave discussing it earlier, I told him I told you, I said, we're going to need a big body, a starting quality. And Steve brought up Suave brought up an interesting name. And what was that name, bro?
Horford.
Yeah.
Old, but you can stretch the floor. I
actually think I've seen that they're a tie there, or at least people mentioning something. That wouldn't be a bad.
Until he signs on the dotted line, I'm still a little worried. They have been super quiet. There's definitely got to be some type of deal that they're trying to work out for Kuminga. Could it be Giannis? Could it be some unnamed player or unknown player? Could it be Mark Cannon from Utah? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was always thinking it might be Giannis. Because that whole situation's all been kind of quiet. And
Milwaukee's been super busy in
with
free agency.
Yeah, and letting Dame go, which was shocked everybody. But supposedly, it sounds like the reason why that happened was because he wanted to rehab from home in Portland, and they felt kind of sus on that. And he was like, I want to be with my kids while I'm healing. So
yeah,
100%.
Would not actually be surprised to see Dame go back to Portland.
Yeah. There's actually, and I know this is far over than their heels talk, but I guess the Warriors were one of the first teams to reach out to him after he cleared waivers.
As they should.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting team with Steph, Dame, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond. That would definitely be, and Buddy Hield. Like, that would definitely be a very interesting
Playoff Buddy Hield,
Yeah.
not season Buddy.
He hit
Right?
some okay shots.
We got our own playoff Jimmy, basically.
Yeah.
But playoff Buddy Hield, because like I was scratching my head on why the hell did we do that? But he stepped it up during the playoffs, so I'll give him that. He earned some respect back on that one. But
now, I had spoken to Suave about the fact of liking the Al Horton deal, but Al Horton leaves him in a similar spot. I think I get what you're saying now. Like, I think it works perfectly into what I was talking about earlier, Suave, in the fact that it was Al Horford gives them a body. Like Al Horford, if he signs, wouldn't play more than what we saying, like 17, 25 minutes at most.
Yeah, probably about 24, 2 quarters worth.
Yeah, and then you give Quentin Post and Ty Jackson Davis those other minutes, or you run Post from the 4 and give Jackson Davis those minutes, and then have those extra minutes, and then have Draymond play spot duty on the 5 when we truly need a 5 that's going to lock down, like on a Jokic or somebody like that. If they're getting abused all game, then Draymond could step in at the 5. But I think a combination of Horford and Post would work very well with that squad. Post, because that young boy, he's a stretch 4, stretch 5, easy, hitting 40% from the 3. He just needs to work on his mid-range jumper and start developing a post game. If he does that, no pun intended. If he does that, like he will be a monster in the NBA. Because he's already got the outside shooting. He's already got some of the mid-range shooting. He just needs to work on his low post game. And he should be all good. But will it result in the Warriors actually getting the center that they've needed and wanted since Andrew Bogut left?
Nah. And even then, even before Bogut, I mean, Bogut was damaged goods when we got him. That's why we got him. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, we haven't had a real true center since Bob Lanier.
Wow. I was going to say Manute Bol. No, he was just tall.
Yeah, Manute.
Yeah.
Got to give him his shine.
That man was a monster of a man. I remember my father talking about meeting him and having to see him like into a not normal size as opposed to like that, but like an 8-foot like ceiling like place, having to like
look up
and like
yep.
and like having to crank his neck to get in, and I'm like, wow, Manute Bol, that's one big man, especially considering how many threes he was shooting. But all right. So let's get to some of the other. Well, first, let's get to the sports quiz question of the day, or at least for this segment. And it is: in what year were the first modern Olympic Games held? If you know the answer, hold it. We'll give it at the end of the segment.
But what defines the modern Olympics? Just curious on that. Like digital scoreboards. I mean, are we talking about like out of the Roman Empire, after the Roman Empire? Like,
I think we're thinking post-Roman.
Was a country. Like,
see, it's hard for me to answer this part of the question because I know the answer. Like, because I'm looking at the answer, so it's hard for me to say it without giving away the answer. I'll just say it's
1904. I don't know.
We'll talk about it. I'll give the answer at the end of the segment. All right, so we're going to get to talking some NBA free agency buzz. One of the stories I found is that the Rockets are trading Cam Whitmore to the Wizards for 2 second-round picks. I don't really see how this helps the Wizards, but that's also because I don't genuinely believe that the Wizards will ever be good. Like, I think their curse of changing from being the Bullets to the Wizards is one that will see them never win a championship, or at least never at least until they can get a new owner and a new GM that actually like wants to win.
All the names they could have chosen, the Wizards was the worst choice.
Yep. Okay, Cam Whitmore on his way to the Washington Wizards for 2 second-round picks. That they just did trade Jordan Poole. They traded Poole to New Orleans. And then I'm trying to think of who else the Wizards have traded away. They signed Kuzma. So it's like I look at this team and I'm like, you know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of kids building things with Legos. They don't quite know what it's going to be until it's built. Up until then, they're just putting pieces together and going, that looks good. And that's basically what the GM in Washington is doing. He's going, that looks good. Go do something with it.
And he's until they get a number 1 pick.
Yep. Which may never happen because we all know that it's rigged. I'm sorry. You're not Cleveland when LeBron left. You didn't lose a generational player. You're just the Wizards. The Washington Wizards. Might as well be called the Generals. You're the Cleveland Browns of basketball. Know your lane. Just stay in it. We're all good. Yeah, I want to say they haven't even been good since Gilbert Arenas days. That was the last time the Wizards were
They weren't even good then.
They were just less
lightweight
bad.
Entertaining. I'll give them that, but they were
just
never
less,
a threat to do nothing.
They were
just less bad.
Yep.
Looks like Mortiz Wagner is returning to Wagner is returning to the Orlando Magic. They're putting together a decent squad. They haven't really done a lot in free agency. Like they've retained a lot of their guys, which I guess for some people, like for certain teams or whatever, I guess that's a big deal.
Well, they did go out and get Desmond Bane, so I think they're primed to make a strong run over these next couple of years. You got to like the young core. Keeping Wagner on the 1-year deal is interesting. He could be trade bait. I mean, that deal, if it's right, $5 million, we could trade the tender for Kuminga and put Kuminga with Banchero and Bane. I mean, they wouldn't play much defense, but they'd be fun to watch.
So they'd be like the Lakers from this year. Once they got Luka.
Yeah.
Didn't play much defense, but they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's why I've never understood the combination of Luka and LeBron. Like, if this was LeBron of the Miami Heat days, like 2014 Bron, maybe where he could pick up some of the slack, but Luka ain't never played defense. Like,
I mean, he's gotta be able to play average defense at some point. You figure at some point the light bulb's gonna go off. Conditioning will be a factor to where he can do things on both ends of the floor and still be effective. He's got to at least try for average defense.
I will give it to him. He's looking good right now. I saw pictures of him recently, and I was surprised because usually at this point in the after season, he's looking like through. Mm-hmm. He's looking puffy and like he's been drinking, and he's looking healthy and fit. So
what happened, right? LeBron cornered him up in the locker room. Look, motherfucker, I'm about to accept this goddamn option.
But weight is only one thing. Yeah. That doesn't mean the conditioning is still there. Yeah. It's giving the appearance that it might be, but we don't know what he's doing as far as his actual conditioning for basketball goes. So.
I just hope they don't win a title. I would hate to see
it. They won't. They absolutely
I think
won't.
the West is entirely too good.
And Jeannie Buss will be kicked out of her position as the governor after the next season. Rob Pelinka will be gone. JJ Redick will be gone. JJ Redick's going to be gone before the season is over. I can almost.
Wow, you think so?
You heard it here.
Wow, I don't know. That's LeBron's boy. I think they.
I think he survives the season.
You're assuming LeBron's going to make it through the season.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. Speaking of
the man's not getting any younger. Like at some point, it's gonna happen. We saw some really close times this last season. So
yeah.
Well, I think he's within the last 1 or 2 years of his career, no matter what. Like you can't go on forever, no matter how much you want to.
He should have been in the last year or two of his career, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, but we said the same thing about Tom Brady for the last 5 years of his career.
Yeah, but part of it would be one thing if he was willing to play a supporting role. Then, hey, you probably do have a few more years in you, but he's not. And he is getting to the point of he is supporting cast at this point. He shouldn't be the
Lead guy.
hero, the main cast, no.
Don't tell Brondashians that.
Well, they can come at me. I said what I said.
Well, speaking of the Lakers,
wait till the end of the show to hear what I have to say about him again. I say it every time.
Well, say on top of bringing in DeAndre Ayton, which me and Suave discussed last week, surprised the hell out of me. I was hoping the Warriors would pick him up, but that was just me. But on top of bringing in DeAndre Ayton, the Lakers also brought back Jackson Hayes to man their center position. Like I was saying earlier in the show about the Warriors, the Lakers were the one team that needed a big as much, if not more, than the Warriors, and they actually made moves to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? They went out and got DeAndre Ayton. Is he the best big? No, but he's a hell of a lot more serviceable than what they had last year. You know, and Jackson.
That doesn't take much. Like, you just set the bar. Are we limbo here? Because you just set the bar like super low on that.
Well, don't get me wrong. It doesn't make them a championship contender. I still think they're a top 5 seed at best. But I think it was 2 players in Jackson. Well, not Jackson Hayes, but that was one player in DeAndre Ayton that I think the Warriors could have used. I think a front line of Ayton, Butler, and Green would be extremely formidable. And he was young, so he could grow with the younger guys like Pods and them and carry us and be that transition player, that transition vet from one team to the next. But instead, he went to go lose a championship with sorry. Just got a message that threw me off. He could be a transition player, a transition vet to carry them into the next generation of Warriors players. But, oh well. Instead, he decided to go play with LeBron for the hopes of a championship that they will not be winning this year. Sorry, Lakers fans. Really sorry for y'all Lakers fans, and sorry, LeBron James fans. The West is just too good. I'm sorry, that Lakers team is not beating Oklahoma. But all right, let's see. So let's move on to, you mentioned the Dallas Mavericks, or you mentioned LeBron James potentially not being there at the end of the season. One of the suspected places that they said he may be, that they thought he might go, is Dallas. But the Dallas Mavericks, with Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, and now rookie number 1 pick Cooper Flagg, would only be interested in acquiring LeBron James in a buyout situation. In other words, they would not be willing to give up any assets for him. They'd be more than willing to sign him after a buyout from the Lakers, but they do not wish to have him. Yeah.
Oh, they already gave him Luka. What more do they want for? just consider that another just tapped on the end of that one, right? Like,
I'll say, yeah, and that's where I say, like, it's going to be interesting to see. That's why I like that you brought up the fact that LeBron may be on the move, because it was kind of weird that instead of signing an extension, he just opted into his final year, his $52 million. Now, that may have something more to do with his impending retirement than it does his actual, what his future is going to be, or him wanting to go someplace else, or putting the Lakers on a time clock, and this is just one thing, or the new dude might have came in like Pat Riley. You don't own this bitch.
No,
I do, LeBron.
That's kind of exactly what me and my dude were talking about that yesterday or the day before with the new ownership. And he thinks one of the reasons why the ownership was brought, new ownership stepped up to buy out in the first place, was to right the ship on that.
Yeah.
That, coupled with apparently there was a lot of strife going on between the Buss family with her and her siblings, and them not being happy with the way that she's been handling the team. So, let's get the decisions back in the hands of the people who should be making them.
100%.
rather than like,
I mean, she did get 2 titles with Kobe.
Yeah.
okay, but
Nothing since then, but still, got to give her
okay,
props for
but
that.
and her props are Kobe because
Well, she helped do the trades and stuff. I mean,
she
I guess you could say that the GM is involved, but if we've all watched that Lakers show, Showtime or Lake Time or whatever the hell it was called, I mean, Jeannie Buss, she knows ball.
Yeah.
she does, but something's been going on with her. It's like she cared. I think financially some of it may have been too, because
Yeah,
just like Mark Davis and the Raiders, right? Like their money was based off of that team. And even though now they have money,
yeah,
but they didn't
Yeah.
have that kind of money prior to selling the team because the team was their asset, right? So some of the LeBron stuff was to make sure that they were still bringing in money and revenue streams even when they weren't doing so
The
much.
best.
But
Yeah.
but here's the thing. If you win and you win championships, that's going to do the same thing. And
Yep.
all of her LeBron experiment did was just kick the can down the road on when that's going to happen. Right? Because I'm sorry, and I said it the last time I was on, that bubble chip doesn't count. Like, it doesn't. And
Yeah.
any old school Laker fan in their right mind would tell you the same thing, just like they'd tell you that they were pissed of the hanging of the mid-season tournament banner in the freaking arena. Fucking
I
Kobe's
think I
rolling
know one
over
that
in
was
his
Lakers
trash.
fan.
grave. Like, how madly disrespectful.
I agree. I agree 100%. I think our resident Laker fan would argue the point, but
Well, he
he's
hadn't
yeah.
been here in God knows how long, so he can at me too, sir. Duel, come at me. I said it.
Oh, I've heard his he doesn't care a championship's speech before. So, but yeah, I'm with you though. I'm with you.
I
All
mean,
right, so
I could see that from a different franchise that wasn't like as storied as the Lakers or the Celtics or now even the Warriors. But like, really, no, you didn't get
no,
a parade. It didn't count.
there you go. All right, so last subject for the NBA before we cut the break is going to be about one Mr. Duncan Robinson signing a 3-year deal with the Detroit Pistons. For those of you who don't remember, Duncan Robinson was a piece. I believe he played for the team that went to the finals, didn't he? The Heat team that went to the finals with Jimmy Butler. Like, so he was a key cog in what they do over there, and they just lost him to Detroit, a young and up and coming team that really pushed the Knicks this year and almost beat them. So,
Yeah.
Suave, kick us off. Your thoughts on Duncan Robinson adding to that young core over there in Detroit?
I think Kate Cunningham is starting to come into his own. They've slowly and surely built a good team through the draft and apparently now augmenting it in free agency. I think it's a solid pickup, especially at that price tag, 3 years, 48 million. You expected a little bit of a heftier price tag for a young and up and coming player, but I think he can be a good piece for them. I still think they're 1 star away from being truly competitive, but if the entire team buys in, they can give a team of problems. I could see them beating somebody in the first round. I don't think they'll go past the second, but you got to give them their props that they are at least building in the right direction.
Amen. Amen. O'Malley, any thoughts?
I'm with I'm right there with it. Like they were close, right? The Knicks, that almost did not end well for the Knicks. So
Yeah.
they're they're moving in the right direction, and I think that's what's
Yeah.
important.
Mhm.
So kind of moving away from the drama, moving more towards like something positive, and so yeah.
Amen. All right, so that'll do it for us for the first block of the show. We're gonna go ahead and take that quick 4-minute commercial break, and we'll be back to talk. I just picked a few NFL stories out, and we had a big trade. If this was 5 years ago, um, You're watching the classroom right here on First GenXers Twitch or Double KK Double Network YouTube or the First GenXers YouTube. So wherever you're watching, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys on the back end of the break. Peace.
This is now versus then. This is now versus then.
Get on your mark, let's go. This is now versus then. Burning up your radio, still turning up the heat with Poetic on the flow. Got you moving to the beats with the Saint as your host. Shout out the collective, hold it down, we gon' clown, that's the lesson. Where Generation X meets Generation Next, with them bangers from the east to the south to the west. Yeah, this how we do it in Sacktown. Slide to the studio, yup, it goes down. Everybody fall through. These beats gon' pound, waking the game up, told you it goes down. And this is only the intro. Turn the mics on, shout out to my kinfolk. Where you at, y'all? Let's get this started. Turn down for what? We about to start the party. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
This is now versus then. This is now versus then. This is now versus then. This is now versus then.
It's distorted. Yeah. Come on. Searching for yourself, so insecure about the way you look, so you go to Miami. You can't find the love within yourself.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So yeah, sorry about that. That ended up being the longer version of the promo that we usually run. There is a shorter version that I'll probably be switching it up to next week. My bad. Anyway, so we'll start out with our sports quiz question, and this is going to make you roll so you roll your eyes. This is so easy. If you can't get this, you haven't been alive or around for the past few years. But first, let me give you the answer to the last sports quiz. Forgot to give you that on the way out the door. 1896 is what they consider the first modern day Olympics.
Okay,
So-
I was 8 years off. I was 2 Olympics off.
All right. So the next question would be, what player won MVP, All-Star MVP, and Finals MVP in the same season? The answer
Really?
is obvious.
Seriously? Have people been under a rock for the last month?
If they haven't been, if they have been, then this question is definitely the one to reach out. But we'll answer it after we talk a little NFL here. All right. So for those of you who don't know, cornerback Stephon Gilmore, when he was young, he's now 34. When he was young, was one of the best corners in the league. And I think that as a veteran presence in the locker room, maybe not a lot of on field, I think kind of in an Al Horford kind of way, I think he can contribute to a team. And evidently he feels so as well, because according to this article I read, it says he hopes to play in the right situation this year because he feels like, which will be his 14th NFL year, because he feels like he can still contribute. So, Suave, is there a place where you think that Gilmore might fit in? I know where I'm thinking of, and I'll give that answer in a minute. But is there a place that you think he might be able to fit in?
If he's stayed in shape, he could potentially help any playoff team. Worst case, he could be a nickelback or in the dime package, spot playing where he's able to, keep his legs under him. He's no longer the number one or number two corner for a team, but he can come in and be a third or fourth corner for a team, and he can help, mentor those guys. He was raised in the Patriots system, and you're good when Belichick pays you. He's one of the few veterans that got paid out of all the other veterans that were really, really good as Patriots, and they let Walker, they traded him. Gilmore was one of the ones that they kept for a long time. So I think he can help a lot of teams. I wouldn't say a young team or a team on the cusp. He's not that type of player to help get you over, but he could help be a push for a playoff team.
Yeah. O'Malley, like the guy had his PPF or Pro Football Focus grade fall to like a 60 in his last season with the Vikings. He's definitely not the guy he used to be. Do you think he could still help a team?
We could. One that is in maybe a particular kind of need, and it maybe not be in the way that he's used to.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are ways that he could assist a team. I mean, for all we know, like he could have just had not the best time in Minnesota. Like given the right opportunity, the right atmosphere. I mean, I'm not gonna say that this dude's Charles Woodson or anything like that, but he still may have some in him. He at least maybe deserves the opportunity for camp, something.
Yeah. If I were the San Francisco 49ers, I'd bring him in. And the reason why is this. He is it's a veteran presence. He could be what Jason Verrett was supposed to be if he didn't lose all of his ACLs while he was playing for San Francisco. Like the guy played 3 seasons and spent two of them on every season in the preseason. He busted an ACL and was out for the season.
Well, and it's funny you say that though, because I was about to say where I see him moving and going is whoever loses something during camp or preseason, he'll be a good option to call in or something like that.
I say the reason why I say, you guys know why I say San Francisco is that's my squad, but in general they need depth at cornerback. Period. Like they got a new kid, Upton Stout. They got 2 young kids in Green and Diamador Lenore. And so like, why not bring in a veteran guy? If anything, just bring him in for the preseason. See if he fits Robert Saleh's style and see if he could play some slot. And if it don't work out, you cut him. I mean, bring him in for a look, at least.
It's not really much to lose on it.
Yeah. Like Jason Verrett, they brought in him off an ACL. Unfortunately, he tore the other one and then found a third one and tore that one too. But I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to be bitter over Jason Verrett because I watched him in San Diego for years and was so happy when the Niners signed him. And I think he played like 6 games for them and then tore his ACL. And then came back at the beginning. Oh, he's going to come back next season. All right, he came back next season, tore his ACL in the preseason. Like, then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, his contract's over, but we're going to sign him for 1 more year again, and he tears his ACL in the preseason. Like, dude, just say you don't want to play here. You ain't got to hurt yourself over and over like that, all right? Anyway, I'm messing with you. In a story that I found to be one of the funniest of this NFL offseason, Darren Waller unretires as the Giants trade him to the Dolphins for draft picks.
How bad do you not want to play for the Giants?
But I when I saw the headline, I was like, I had forgotten that Darren Waller retired. Like, and I remember thinking to myself when he retired, like, wow, dude, you're really young to be retiring. You've only been in the league a few years.
Yeah.
Well, now I know,
Yeah,
I guess.
and because like the whole Giants thing, the whole getting sent to the Giants thing, like right after getting married to what's her face? Freaking, they were like Las Vegas royalty for half a second.
Yeah.
And the way that all of that played out, and then to go to the Giants, like through all of it, yeah, I mean, shit.
The only way I'm getting out of this is retirement. That's it, dude. That's the only way I'm
There
getting
you
out
go.
of this shit.
All right.
But
Well,
I guess
he's back.
now
He's back in.
he
I'm not
doesn't
sure
have to
how much
retire.
better he's doing, but
I think that he'll be a nice target for Tua. Like, he's got a quarterback with an arm. He's semi-accurate.
okay, if Tua is the quarterback for the whole season again, like these
Hey,
are
what?
some big ifs.
What I was gonna say was so. What do y'all think of Miami running a dual quarterback system?
I mean, I'm waiting for it to happen at some point. I'm not even going to lie. There's going to be some fast quarterback.
So, but it's not really a dual quarterback system. It's a quarterback with training wheels, so that when the quarterback goes out, you can just move the other one right in there.
Eventually, somebody really is going to do a dual quarterback system where they're going to act like they're running the ball and then stop and throw it, or that type of deal. It's going to be. I'm waiting for that to happen. Somebody's got to try it at some point.
But we've been waiting. You know what? You know what I think put a nail in it for a little bit? And I'll say this. Y'all remember this. Steve Spurrier. When he tried to bring that fun and gun from Florida to the pros, and it did not work out the way that they thought it was going to, I think that kind of put the nail in the head or in the board for that kind of a spread, like gimmicky type offense. You know what I'm saying?
That worked out in the NFL just about as well as Nick Saban worked out in the NFL. So
gotta have the players.
Keep the college shit. Keep the college shit in college.
I think that there are due to the speed of the game, there are certain offenses that are better suited for college than for the pros. But I don't think that there's a single offense that can't be run in both, just not successfully. You know what I'm saying?
It all comes down to players. I mean, we saw the Wildcat make a comeback, and every team was trying to emulate it for damn near a decade. I mean, so the fun and gun, it could work, but you got to have the players to do it. If Spurrier had his Florida teams, they might have been lightweight successful with it because they all understood it and were willing to do it. But when you're dealing with veterans and they're hesitant or reluctant to buy in, I mean, that's all the difference. You need a team that's going to buy in, and you need the players to. Yeah.
Nah, coach, I don't do shit like that. Like, I block.
Right. Who do you think I am? Kike Hernandez with the Dodgers and playing every freaking position but catcher? Like,
that's my favorite Nick Saban story was when he's talking about Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry didn't know anything about pass protection or any of that. And, the coach is giving him the business. He goes to Saban. He's like, hey, man, I never had to do that. Just hand me the ball. And he's like,
just hand me the ball, let go.
Yeah, you feel me? So, I mean, you just need people that you're willing to be able to coach up, and you got to have the talent and skill to be able to do it. That's
Team
really
players.
why a lot of those coaches don't necessarily work out.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between dealing with young men who you can tell go do this, and like you said, dealing with grown athletes who are being paid millions of dollars a year.
Well, that's also why college football got harder to coach, and why you seen Nick Saban leave, other coaches leave, because
they couldn't do their style anymore of berating and beating down players and transferring over their head. Because
I'm sorry, sir, but some of those players are now making more than you are.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, so in another trade, the Dolphins just seem to be going to work this offseason. The Dolphins trade Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, the tight end, to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I lightweight understand it, but I don't understand it. You drafted Minkah Fitzpatrick. You allowed a coach to misuse him and make him unhappy, so you had to deal him. And now you trade for him to get him back, so you had better make him happy the second time around.
He's going to be making $26.6 million. Oh, no, that's Ramsey. Sorry. Jalen Ramsey is going to be getting 26 points. All right. Jonnu Smith will receive a one-year contract worth $12 million. The Steelers are taking the bulk of Ramsey's contract, with the Dolphins paying $3 million of it.
I think the Steelers need to figure out a little more what's going on with TJ Watt, than some of that other bullshit.
Yeah,
Like,
because there was rumors he was going to get traded, and I've been kind of waiting. And now you go out there and get Jalen Ramsey. Maybe this is an all-in wonder-done year for the Steelers.
I was just thinking the exact same thing. Is I was like, the moves with Aaron Rodgers, with DK Metcalf, none of this shows that they want to win down the road.
And
All
letting
of this
Najee
shows.
none of
Harris
it
go.
shows they want to win. Oh, what?
I will say this. I think on paper, the Steelers are a team that could make the playoffs. They've made the playoffs with less. So I think on paper, as long as everybody stays healthy and Aaron Rodgers stays away from the mushrooms, I think that we can definitely.
Again, we're back to a big if. Okay, we're back to a big if. And the other thing, you're putting all your eggs in this Aaron Rodgers basket that you don't even know is going to be the Aaron Rodgers basket you think you're putting them in. Like,
Yeah, I think if he can give them what he gave the Jets last year, that makes them a playoff contender, like easy, like not a division contender, but a wild card
average quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that like I said, I don't think Aaron Rodgers gives them any kind of advantage in the sense of being like they're going to win a championship, but I definitely think they're making moves to try to do that. Like,
I'll be honest, you get to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot, and I would, if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm betting that Aaron Rodgers can win me 3 or 4 games at the end of the season in the playoffs. That's what you're really banking on. They'll kind of muddle through the season, get to the playoffs, and then all bets are off. They do got DK Metcalf. They are adding Jalen Ramsey, who is still a top corner in the game, or top 10, top 15. He's still a good player. They hold on to TJ Watt, who's one of the better defensive ends in the league. They've got a shot. They've got a shot. If everybody stays healthy, but that's an if that all the teams have.
That, and so long as nobody hurts Aaron Rodgers' precious feelings and he turns into a diva again and it's fuck all of you, right?
Yeah.
Because he does that too. So like, here's hoping that the conditions are just right for Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, or it's going to be a disaster, I think.
Well, I'll say it like this. Isn't that the purest definition of an all-in season? This is either all going to go right and we're going to be lifting the Lombardi, or it's all going to go wrong and we're going to be picking third in the draft. You know,
I'm going to be honest. I'll be the one to say it. It all needs to burn to the ground because I do not need to hear Sevenberg anywhere in the lexicon. Sixberg was enough.
As a former that team in Las Vegas's fan, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. All right, and now Suave brought it up, so let's talk a little bit about that. So with the Steelers making so many moves, there has been talk about them potentially moving TJ Watt. But here's what I ask, okay? I've always asked this with players like this. Who has enough to give them for TJ Watt?
There's a couple of teams that have a lot of draft capital, future draft capital. The Eagles being one. I thought they were making moves. I thought it was going to be the Eagles making this trade because they've got draft picks up the yin-yang that they could either use or use to get a solid piece. And I was waiting for that to happen.
But isn't there the poison pill with draft picks from teams like the Eagles that it's going to be it may be a first-round draft pick, but
it's not all their picks. They've been making trades with other teams, so they've got other teams' picks.
Okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't maybe it's because my boys ain't got enough to get them. Like, I know they ain't got nowhere near enough to get them.
But I mean, jealous. I would even same division, same everything. I'd even throw the Commanders in the mix for that as well, because not only do they have that part of it, but they've got the money too. Like they're in a very good position. So
he was another place. That was another place that Joey Bosa was thinking about going to before he landed with the Buffalo. Was Washington.
It was. And everything that I've seen is that Watt and Pittsburgh are nowhere close to being on the same page right now as far as his contract. So
I mean, and Pittsburgh still has leverage. They could play out this season, franchise tag them, and then deal them, and still not lose anything for them. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I got a feeling with them trading for Ramsey, I think they're all in on this one season, and then they're going to blow it up.
and then they're gonna blow it. Yeah, but when have
It
we
really
ever?
sucked to go all in on a season just to like almost get there.
Yeah.
And then blow it all up.
But they could be
Because
right
that's the
back.
only
I am
time an all-in thing even makes sense is if like
Well, that's another thing that's going to make the Watt deal hard to do. He just signed a 4-year, $112 million deal last year.
Yeah. Oh.
So he hasn't
he
even
still has
gotten to
time
the
left.
peak year. Yeah, he still has 3 years left on the deal. So they wouldn't lose him. Like, they don't have to let him go right now.
You sure? Because I thought he was about to be a free agent next year.
that's what I thought too.
Is he? Well, I may be wrong.
That
wrong.
might have
I've
been the
known
deal
to be
that he's
wrong.
coming off of.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I misread the article.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah, it
that's
just
why I
says in
thought that was
2021.
this was such
My
a
mistake,
deal,
yeah.
a big deal right now
Yeah.
is because of
Because otherwise,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh wouldn't be tripping. Yeah, you can
Right.
sit.
All right, so yeah, he's going to be a free agent this year. So, well, I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do, but TJ,
I don't think
I
Pittsburgh
know there
knows
ain't.
what Pittsburgh's gonna do. So
I don't think there's any way for you to make your way down to San Fran, but if you can, brother, there's a championship waiting for you.
that's not gonna
Because you
happen.
and Nick Bosa would be a championship
Yeah, that's not
combination.
gonna. Okay, just put that.
Hey!
pipe
A
and
brother
smoke
can
it.
dream.
That's a
A
pipe
brother
dream,
can dream.
sir.
Can't stop the dreaming. Can't stop the dreaming.
I can make it happen on
Can't
Madden.
stop believing. Right.
Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. So that is actually going to wrap us up for this evening. As always, it has been a pleasure. Mr. Suave, Miss O'Malley. Be sure, guys, to stick around. Well, probably in about in about a half hour, 45 minutes. We're going to be getting the one and only Saint bringing us MVT Fusion.
That was a new one.
Yeah, Dujan. Hi, Dujan. No, anyway, MVT Fusion, where he has his mixture of music and video games. He brings a great show to you. So stick around for that. That's for those of you on Twitch. For those of you on YouTube, jump over to our Twitch channel and you can catch that. And other than that, we will see you guys next week because I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty more NBA, NFL, and maybe MLB stuff that can go down over this next week.
Well, that kid Soto, he got screwed out of the All-Star game because every team has to have an All-Star. That was rough.
Yeah, but he started out his season real slow, so I don't know if he really earned.
He's got better stats than everybody else that's playing in his position in the game. So I mean, I can't even be mad if I'm New York. I'm like, man, I feel better.
But hasn't he played less games than everybody else at his position?
And he's got better stats than all of them: homers, RBIs, average, all that.
Dang. All right, O'Malley. As always, give it. You know what the general public wants.
Fuck LeBron, fuck Bronny, fuck Jeannie Buss, fuck Rob Pelinka, fuck JJ Redick, fuck LeBron again. Go back to Cleveland. We're done with you here. Like I'm not trying to have you after this year because I know God, he could say one more year because I want to play with that other son of mine. And what a disaster. Please just go back to Cleveland. Just go back.
Oh my goodness. She sound like Pac at the end of Hit 'Em Up.
Fuck Bad Boy. Fuck Biggie.
As a staff, label,
and as a motherfucking crew. And fuck you too.
Oh, I hope you guys truly enjoyed this. We will see you next week. This has been The Classroom. We out.
I'm going to listen to that song now.
Bye.